parte Elmas, il suo cross un po' più lungo verso il centro di Lorenzo, poi la palla per Anghissà verso il centro, nessuno la raccoglie, Kvaratskhelia, deviazione, gol, Osimhen, il bomber mascherato, raccoglie la deviazione di Silvestri e va a realizzare il gol del pareggio. Udinese 1, Napoli 1, sotto la curva napoletana ci va Osimhen e tutto il gruppo. Tommaso Starace esulta dalla panchina, già entrato in campo, così altri, fischia l'arbitro, è finita, è vero, credetemi, è accaduto di notte in uno stadio guardando una maglia azzurra, ho visto il tricolor, sono in questo momento le 22:37 del 4 maggio 2023, il Napoli è campione d'Italia, Napoli campione, il Napoli è campione d'Italia, l'invasione di campo, le bandiere, tutti i giocatori abbracciati, l'apoteosi azzurra è qui a Udine per una vittoria attesa 33 anni, esplode la città, esplode il Maradona, esplode la Dacia Arena, in ogni angolo del mondo il popolo napoletano fa festa, a Londra, a Parigi, a New York, in Australia, in Africa, in Asia, una festa meravigliosa, come la luce del mattino, l'abbraccio di un amico, il viso di un bambino.
Addio mia bella Napoli, addio.
Ciao ragazzi, benvenuti to the 31st episode of In the Shadow of Vesuvio. We've just won the fucking Scudetto. I mean, Michele, what are we going to do today?
We're just going to talk and ramble and just, I don't know, remember the good old times, the good bad time, the bad old times, and everything. I don't know, and I'm so tired. I have no idea what I'm going to say.
We're both completely dead.
Super tired, yes.
I mean, if I feel like this, how the hell do you feel? I mean, Jesus. I mean, okay, so I'm Henry Bell, and I'm broadcasting from the west coast of Scotland, but in the shadow of Vesuvio, in the shadow of the Scudetto. Hey, that's what we should call it, in the shadow of the Scudetto. Basking in the glory of the Scudetto, in Naples, a Napoli, is Michele Borelli at Napoli Tickets on the Twitter. What time did you get in then?
So late. I think it was five something. I don't know. Not sure. It was already bright outside.
Of course. I mean, what
a mess of a podcast we're gonna have today.
It's already terrible.
Yes, so I love it.
I want to the first thing I wanted to do today was to remind you of something you said, I think a long time ago, last year, that if we won the Scudetto, you'd be naked in the fountain. I don't know if you remember saying that.
I did. I've been saying it for years. So yes.
Okay.
Even if I don't remember saying it, it does sound like me because I've been saying it for probably 15, 18 years now.
And what fountain is this in particular, Michele?
They were all empty. They actually damaged the fountains. So there was no fountain available. But wait a second. Because the actual celebration, so the planned celebration will be on June 4th. Like that's when the team will most likely go around the city on the, open bus and with the cup. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't pass on that opportunity when they go around the city. And when I lock my eyes with, Di Lorenzo's eyes, I want to be naked for that moment. I want him to see me in all my glory, in all my joy. So that's the plan. Yesterday, I was sadly dressed.
You've ruined. I was just thinking of you. The first thing I thought of when Osimhen's goal went in was the image of Michele Borelli leaping naked into the fountain. The one in my head is the one in Piazza del Plebiscito, but I mean, I'm sure there are other fountains available.
Yeah, that's the classic fountain, the artichoke fountain. It's called the
There you go.
Fontana del Carciofo. But I wasn't there during the game. I was in the stadium.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
Surrounded by families. So getting naked there, like even my family was there. So getting naked there wasn't an option, I'm afraid.
They've seen you naked, your family. It's fine. There's no surprises there.
Yeah, but I'm not sure they liked it. So I don't know. I don't know if I can do it again.
This is the first. Okay, so June the 4th, that's a promise, Michele. Are you making a promise to our listeners?
Yeah, but just keep in mind that on June the 4th, they are also in Napoli.
A lot of us will be there, including me.
Yeah, so just keep in mind, like I promised I will be naked, but do you promise you will be there? Because I won't get naked if you're not there.
Of course I'll be there. I will be there. So this is right. We're going to get on, but let's get the formalities underway. What's 31? What's 31? Is it something amazingly prophetic? Is it the shining cup? Is it I don't know. Is it the number? Is it the tree? I don't know what it is. Is there something in the stars, Michele, about this show?
Unfortunately not. I think I'm gonna blame ourselves for that, because if we had been more productive with this podcast, we could have gotten to like more funnier numbers by now. Even 33, it's been 33 years since the last Scudetto. We could have done the 33rd podcast today, but no, we are too lazy for that. We are just 2 numbers short. So yeah, so today we are number 31, and number 31 is quite boring. Number 21 is the landlord, the host, is O padrone casa, il padrone di casa. And maybe there is some smart metaphor to go with that and Napoli's success, but I'm too tired to think of one. So we're the
custodians, we're the landlords of the Scudetto, of the league. No, it doesn't really work. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. I don't know.
You're on your own. I'm way too tired. I'm barely able to speak today. I'm not gonna be able to, create intricate metaphors and.
I mean, I suppose the first thing to say is, like, has any of this sunk in to any degree? Do you feel like you're processing this at all?
It's difficult to explain, obviously, because on one hand, it's been such a long time. I've been talking about this on the podcast, I've been dreaming of this day, this season, this year, to be honest, for as long as I can remember. And it's not just that, because it's not just something that you can eventually, like, it wasn't something I was waiting for, let's say, I was hoping for that, but it wasn't something I was waiting for, because I was honestly certain, 100% certain that this day would never come. So when the day comes, you're a little bit scared. Like even yesterday, and it sounds bad, but it's true. And I still don't know why. Maybe I should go to therapy to analyze this. But even yesterday, a part of me didn't want Napoli to score, didn't want Napoli to win, and didn't want Napoli to just to get that point home and celebrate the Scudetto. And it wasn't a small part of me. And I think I tried to rationalize it, and I thought, okay, that's because I want to celebrate it for Napoli Fiorentina, but no, it's not true, because I don't think we will win against Fiorentina. I think current Napoli would lose against Fiorentina at home. So I think a part of me, even against Salernitana, a big part of, I don't know if it's a big part of me, but a non-negligible part of me hope for Napoli to lose. And I know it sounds really bad to say that, but it's true. And I have to think about that. But I think part of it was because, maybe most of it was because I was not ready for this. I was not ready for what came. And, just a way to, it was just a way for me to postpone it, just, okay, maybe, I'm not ready for this. Maybe next season, next week, I will be.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready last week. I wasn't ready yesterday, on Thursday against Udinese. I would have never been ready for it. So How did it feel? I don't know. I'm still processing it. It's a little bit weird because it was a long time coming, but also, let's be honest, we knew this day was coming we have been knowing for a few months now. So
Sure. And I mean, let's go back to this point. I think I totally understand what you're saying. Now, obviously, my experience as a Napoli fan is very different to yours. But we have the same, team in our hearts. And I do know what you mean, because I actually really didn't think it was going to happen yesterday. I thought we were going to lose. And because we haven't been playing very well. But the other thing, I think it was a psychological thing, because I think what it is that I don't think we want this season to end. You know what I mean? Like, it's so incredible and dreamlike, as you say, and we're so far ahead, and we're so much better than everybody else, and it's just inconceivable as the scenario where we would win the third Scudetto is this. And part of me was a bit worried that when it was sealed, the magic would go away. But that wasn't the case at all. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible last night. And I'm miles away in Scotland, and I was glued to multiple devices open, all the footage and the videos and everything and the fireworks, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I think it's going to be even better now it's sealed. I mean, imagine what it's going to be like on Sunday, Michele, in the stadium.
Yeah, no, I really can't wait for that. It's just, it's I think part of it, it's a very weird experience. I'll tell you that. It is not like, even though I wasn't waiting for it and I didn't expect it to happen at all. Sometimes I fantasize, in the last few years, even a long time ago, even when we started going to the Champions League and stuff like that, I often fantasized about it. And I mean, a lot of people did. And I don't think we were imagining it to be like it was, because I think a lot of us were thinking about a Scudetto like in 2018, something like a very close race with Juventus, and then at the end we kind of like slay the dragon and win the Scudetto. But it wasn't the case. We didn't have a real opponent this season, and it doesn't mean, like, a lot of people are saying that to take credit from Napoli and to discredit Napoli from this win. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it was a masterpiece. Even last season, you didn't have to go back too many years. Last season, it wasn't a great season in Serie A at all. Like, Milan won, but it wasn't that good, and Inter wasn't good, and we were so angry about that. We were like, okay, like a lot of us said, it's this season or never. Because
we were so grumpy last year. Yeah, I remember all these shows. We were like, we've blown it. It's never going to happen. We're never going to have an opportunity like this.
Exactly. And this season would have been the same. If we had like a Milan or Inter season, it would have been like, oh, wow, like Juve is not that good. Lazio, Atalanta, Roma, Milan is bad. Inter is bad. It was this season or never. So we actually delivered for once.
We did it. We did it. We actually did it.
So, but it was a slow release. That's the thing. It was a very slow release. It was, I mean, let's be honest, since March, I think in March, or maybe February, we started to realize that it was basically done. There wasn't any, a very small risk of losing it.
Wasn't it weird? Because I've never really been in this situation. I mean, neither of you as a Napoli fan.
Not at all.
And you'd think that slow release would sort of flatten some of the emotions, but it was a slow release with these incredible highs and lows. Like, I think honestly, the Milan Champions League exit is one of the lowest I've felt as a Napoli fan, which is a ridiculous thing to say because it was the Champions League quarter final, and we should have been very happy to be there.
Yeah.
And then the highs, and I know you're a bit different, but the feeling when Raspadori scored against Juventus was just incredible for me. And so it's agonizing as well as this. So you think it was a formality, but still, some of the biggest feelings I've had as a Napoli fan have come in the past sort of 5 to 6 weeks. Talking of big feelings, so what would you say? I know you got in at 5, you haven't really slept, but what What was the most emotional moment of last night and early this morning for you, Michele? Like, what's the bit? Was there a bit where you actually got a bit knocked over?
It was a bit strange because I was quite calm during the whole night, and I think about around not even like Napoli's goal. Yeah, I celebrated, but it was like a normal celebration, a normal Napoli goal celebration. I think in the last 5 minutes of the game, it started to, I started to actually realize what was happening. And again, it was a slow release, but there's also, there's always that moment, that second, that when, the final whistle blows and wow, it's happening. It was a very, again, I'm going to say it for the whole podcast, but even, like I was in the stadium, but there was no game going on. Like the pitch was covered with, I don't know, like whatever that was.
It was a big Napoli flag sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was like big screens around, and flags and support and chants for an away, like a team playing so many, like I don't know, like 800 kilometers away. It was a very surreal experience going to the stadium. It felt like a match day, kind of like I'm used to it now going to the stadium, but then you go inside and there is nothing there are no players, nothing. And it was kind of like a big, living room in a way, a big sofa. We watched the game together on television, 50,000 people watching the same thing. Was strange, surreal.
So that full-time whistle, would you say was the bit where it really got you?
Yeah, the because.
And who were you with? Were you with your dad and your family and stuff, or who was around you on the full-time whistle?
So my whole family came. Yesterday there were no trusts, so a lot of them were in Udine, and some of them were still in Napoli, but not in the stadium. They decided not to get in. So the stadium was absolutely like I never seen a stadium full of families like yesterday's stadium. Was like a lot of children, I think a lot of people who never been to the stadium even. Like personally, a few of my friends came, and like under normal circumstances, they wouldn't care about football at all. Especially, like my friends' girlfriends and stuff like that. They were there, my brother's girlfriend. And it was like, it was like that. And, surrounded by family, some friends, some historic friends who, we've been talking Napoli, supporting Napoli together inside the stadium, outside the stadium for years now. So it was very nice to be with them. The final whistle, it all became real. All I talked about, the stuff about not wanting Napoli to win. Obviously, it went away in an instant.
Of course.
And I mean, it was like that precise moment was the moment when just down on me. Okay, it happened. We are champions, and it was a bit strange because up until that moment, up until like maybe like 5 minutes before that, I was extremely stoic, very calm, and like my friend's girlfriend, she was coming like she said, like I think the most relaxed person in this stadium right now is Michele, because I was very silent. Like everyone around me was getting angry, was getting emotional, getting angry about Napoli not scoring the second. A lot of mistakes. Like we're not going to talk about yesterday's game. Like,
we got a bit. I mean, we played so badly in that.
Okay, that's it. That's all I want to talk about.
It was just like the worst performance of the season. It was just like, oh my! I was sat there going like, and I hate being right. That's not true. I love being right, but I hate being right. I really didn't think we were going to win at all, and that was why I was really expecting a performance like that. Yeah, but so you weren't effing him, jeffing him. You weren't getting angry at that.
A little bit, like just like a normal amount, But especially in the last minutes, to be honest, like what they didn't know, like they looked at me, and they were looking at a very like everyone around me was reacting to to the build up, to the missed opportunities, to Napoli almost conceding and stuff like that. I wasn't moving at all. I think I didn't move for the last 20 minutes. And
Mm.
yeah, people believed that was me being calm and tranquil, but it wasn't true. Like what they didn't know is that I was a little bit, I was going back to like all these years. I'll be honest, like I started thinking about, the last few years, especially like 10, 15 years ago when I started, like probably following Napoli, when I used to go to my grandpa and watching Napoli every weekend, and I was watching Napoli with my grandpa, my grandpa's brother, and like my one of my grandpa's friend. Like they were like these three old people and me, just me, like teenage me, just watching Napoli all the time. And these people had seen it all. They've seen all the games, the Scudetti, the wins, the losses. And yeah, my grandpa passed away a few years ago, but I became a real fan during that time, I think. And yeah, no, I was like with my mind, I was going through all these memories, and
So were you thinking of him? What was his name? What was your grandfather's name?
Rino, Nonno Rino. And yeah, no, it was just, I was thinking about a lot of things, my teenage years, and so many things. My first games in the stadium when my first games were in the lower distinti. Some of the shittiest game Napoli has ever played in their history. 0-0 like against Genoa under the rain, 0-0 against Liverpool. Like I paid a lot of money I didn't have for those games, and then we moved to the upper distinti, then Curva A, and then finally to Curva B. I was thinking kind of like having a conversation with my teenage self of those years, and yeah, I don't know, it felt a little bit surreal. I was just lost in those memories, and when the final whistle came, I snapped out of them and I came back to reality, and of course I started crying, and I kept crying for 40 minutes, obviously. But
just like Kavica Kvaratskhelia in the dressing room. And I remember I saw that video and I tweeted out that I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, we are all Kvara at this stage. Like there is that kind of emotion that also comes from exhaustion as well. I think from just the release of the anxiety and the worry and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So who was around you at that immediate moment then at the final whistle?
I was with some friends I've been following Napoli with for years. Like high school friends, basically. Some friends I started to go to the stadium with, and I was with my family, obviously, and I was with some stadium friends, like people I never see outside the stadium, but they are basically almost my best friends now. And
your Curva pals.
Yeah, Curva pals. Yeah. Like always the same spot in Curva B, watching games, away games, apparently too, home games. And yeah, it was a moment, I think, yeah, it was just like that final whistle, it all became real. And yeah, it was a lot of people getting emotional around me. I'm not entirely sure what happened around me at the moment. I was like, I don't know myself too well in this case, because I don't really like. It sounds weird to say, but I only get emotional with Napoli, basically. I am an emotional guy, but I only cry for Napoli, basically.
Right.
Never. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I will in the next years. I don't know, but yeah.
Maybe this has opened something up, Michele. This Scudetto. This has opened up.
No, man. I've been crying for Napoli for years now. I cried when Napoli qualified for Champions League in 2011. I cried. No, I cried many times for Napoli. It's the big achievements, but it's never expected. Like it's not something I say, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna cry there. Like as I said, 5 minutes before that, I was kind of calm. I was lost in my memories and stuff, but I was kind of, that's true that I was stoic in a way. And then it just came, I got together, the how do you say, the floodgates open.
Yeah,
and,
very good.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it was that kind of thing. And I actually have videos of that because I was recording the whole thing with my camera, with my
Your new
360
fancy
camera.
360. Yeah, we shall
Exactly.
see Arthur's recount. It was the public debut of that camera. So you had just had it on all the time, did you?
Yeah, all the time. Like no, I put it on for the last. I recorded the goal. So Osimhen's goal, I recorded it, and I recorded the last 5 minutes of the game, and then after that, the next like 20 minutes of celebration. So that's gonna be a nice. It's gonna be a nice video. I think I'm gonna have to work on it a little bit, but we'll see.
Keep your eyes peeled at Shadow of Vesuvio. Everybody listening, were you near or with anybody that was there in 1990 or 1987?
Yeah, my father.
How, if you don't mind me, how was he?
He was. I think you know what. He wasn't too emotional about that. I think he was mostly. You know what it was like. He'd been saying that for weeks now. He was very happy for the younger generations. Like when Napoli won yesterday, he basically high-fived all the people of my generation, congratulating us for our first Scudetto. It was like, congratulations for your first Scudetto, congratulations. And he was happy for us. Like he'd been saying that for years, for months now. It was very happy that we finally got to see what he saw back in the day, because it wasn't something it would have been very disappointing, I think, for him as a Napoli fan and as a father of a Napoli fan to have his son miss such an emotional moment that he actually experienced twice. So he was very happy. Maybe he was happy himself, obviously, because he's a Napoli fan. But I think he was more happy. He was happier for the people who had never experienced such a joy. Because in his mind, I think in Napoli fans' mind, everyone has to experience this. Now, maybe we're going to be the same in 20, 30 years. If we don't win for the next 20, 30 years.
Which we might do.
Yeah, which we might do, of course. We're ready for that. But yeah, it's such a joy. And I don't think, the best part is it's just started. I don't think it's over. I think yesterday was, step one celebration. Yesterday was basically the improvised celebration, the celebration which come from the belly, from the heart. But in 1 month, almost exactly 1 month, we're gonna have the last home game of the season, and I think as soon as I see that fucking cup in the stadium, we'll see what happens.
You remember how you felt when Milan lifted it last season? You were like angry sad. It was you were really angry sad.
I don't think I saw that though.
But you said you were like you were feeling fine about it, but then when you saw the Milan celebrations, you just had to like leave the house or something. So imagine that in the context of it's actually ours. What did you make of our dear owner's speech?
I didn't hear any of it. I don't know. Like the audio in the stadium is so bad. Like they talk, we don't listen. Like we can listen, we can understand anything they say. So I don't know what I don't know what he said. I only listened to, like this morning, I watched a video of an interview he gave in English to CBS, I think.
Yeah, the American one was very weird.
Very weird. Yeah, that's it. I only listened to it because I wanted to hear how well he spoke English. I didn't hear about his Italian. Like he was speaking, I think he was mostly speaking for televisions, but in the stadium, we didn't really hear anything. We were just talking among ourselves. We didn't really pay attention to it. So I don't know what happened. What was the reception
like? What were the people like when he started speaking?
Normal.
Just normal. No, I don't think. But the ultras weren't there, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, even if they were, now they made peace. They made peace, so they're happy about that. They showed a banner last week. I made fun of this banner with my friends because it sounds so weird, so stupid. They basically, Curva B was showing, like against Salernitana, obviously. They prepared like something like 14 or 15 banners. And usually when they prepare so many banners, they show them all at once. Like from the top of the curva to the bottom of the curva, and they show them all at once. This time they did something different. They showed one banner in the first row, Curva B, and then they removed it after 1 or 2 minutes, and then they showed the other one, and then they removed it. So it was a long time, it actually it caused a lot of problems with people in the first row in Curva B, and I am in first row in Curva B. So yeah, that was very annoying.
It was like working in a supermarket, just pushing all the new things in.
No, it was honestly like I'm gonna talk about it now, but it was very bad. I saw some things which I really didn't like. But anyway, one of the banners was like there were banners thanking. I didn't read all of them because honestly, after the Salernitana game, everyone just forgot about it. But I think the gist of it was thanking everyone for this amazing season. And one of the banners said, "Thank you, SSC Napoli, and thank you to the craziest president in the world." This was what like these are people who they were chanting De Laurentiis son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I was there. I heard these, but I was there last year.
No, even like no, but not just a year ago. A month ago, they were chanting De Laurentiis, you son of a bitch, and now they are showing Valo saying, "Thank you to the president, the craziest president in the world." And if it sounds silly in English, just know that in Italian it sounds even sillier. It sounds so stupid. You have no idea.
How would you say
something like "Grazie al presidente più pazzo del mondo." It sounds like something
più pazzo del mondo, sì.
Yeah, it sounds like something like a middle schooler would write in I don't know, like to a best friend. I have no idea. It sounds so stupid and silly.
Sport brings people together, Michele.
Yeah.
Even the worst enemies can come together. That is really significant, though, isn't it? If you think, like, would you have thought, just as you could never imagine a Scudetto, could you have imagined the ultras in Curva B unveiling a banner praising Aurelio De Laurentiis?
No. I think it was more like, if you ask me what was more unlikely, like the Scudetto or the ultras loving De Laurentiis and vice versa, I would have said the ultras situation, because that's totally unbelievable. Like, when that happened, I was absolutely shocked. Really, that's a thing. Like, because they went from the worst moment, like the lowest moment in the ultras De Laurentiis relationships to the highest moment in a matter of like days. So that was surreal. Like, the whole season is so weird, man.
It's completely bizarre. So okay,
such a Napoli season.
We haven't quite covered it. I would recommend people go to at Napoli tickets on Twitter, Michele's account. There's some really good pictures and videos. Also our account at Shadow Vesuvio. But what the picture that really made me laugh that you posted was actually pre-match of the big screens. Because they were sold, these big screens, weren't they, Michele? That there was going to be these 8 giant screens in the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. Your picture, and it could just be the angle, but it really looks like they've just got a big telly out of someone's house and put it in the stadium. And there was just something wonderfully pazzo about the whole thing. It was wonderful that I have, as you say, it's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it, about how full of families the stadium was. But the fact that also they just put like these 8 not entirely giant screens. I mean, presumably you couldn't see anything really.
No, I mean, they were small, but not that small.
Okay,
having said that,
the camera.
No, but I didn't watch the match there because they were actually small. No, I mean, the camera maybe made them look too small, but they were still small. So I actually watched the game on the 2 regular big screens that are in the stadium. Just I was turned all the way to the right to watch the game there, and most people were. I think most people were.
But I mean, as an event, was it quite fun? Like, should they do this kind of thing again, do you reckon?
I think it was fun. It was quite fun. I don't think they can do it regularly. Maybe they can do it for like finals. Like if we have like a I don't know, Coppa Italia final or a Champions League final, whatever.
World Championship final after winning the Champions League, as Aurelio De Laurentiis said we're going to do.
Exactly. So yeah, they can do that. But for regular games, like even big games, nah, because I don't think they will do it because it takes too much effort to do it. I'll be honest, it was well organized. I didn't expect them to organize it so well because I think most of it was already probably pre-organized, because I think most of what they did yesterday was already planned for the Salernitana game. The fireworks, the stage, the lights, the light games, DJ set, whatever those were covering the pitch. Because I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if the picture showed it, but at the beginning of the game, like this big, how do you call them? Like banners, whatever, like blue banners covering the whole pitch. They
Covers.
said, yeah, just they covered the whole pitch, and they only said Napoli and 4th of May. And after the game, they uncovered some of them, and they actually said Napoli champion 4th of May. So they were actually, a big surprise. Yes, we're champions. And
Bit of
yeah,
theatre there for everybody.
yeah, exactly. There was definitely planned. I think I saw some of those things for the Salernitana game, but they stayed hidden because there was no reason to uncover
They
them.
reheated the soup, but they just didn't tell anybody that there was soup originally. Okay, this is interesting. But I want a little bit. I mean, obviously you're knackered and you're still processing, but like, so final whistle goes. You have that great moment of emotion, surrounded by your family and your friends. The memories of 15 years of flooding past. It feels surreal. It feels strange. What then happens? So you hang around in the stadium for like, how long were you there? Presumably everyone's just singing, and what particular songs were more popular than others, and that, what happened? I mean, afterwards.
So, I mean, you have to keep in mind that there were probably more people in the streets outside the stadium than people inside the stadium. And even though we weren't sure about that, we could kind of hear them, because every once in a while you could hear fireworks. You could hear not just after the game, like even during the game, you could hear fireworks, you could hear some chants, you could hear some like firecrackers and stuff like that. At one point, I don't know how to say it in English, but they fired. You know what they fire? Basically, I saw it in some movies. When you're lost at sea, and to make yourself seen, you fire a flare in the sky.
A nautical flare.
Yeah, they fired a nautical flare from outside the stadium, inside the stadium. So we could actually see this thing. Like, it's a first. It was so fun to see. Just like this one flare slowly going inside the stadium. It actually ended up on the pitch. So there was fun from outside the stadium. So we could hear, we knew that, even though there was super fun inside the stadium, the real party was outside the stadium. So after the game ended, obviously, fireworks show, everyone excited, a lot of people emotional. Was so funny because a lot of people who I didn't know were at the stadium and were in Curva B actually came to us because they know where I sit, where my father sits, where my family usually sits. And they all came, and just like I got so many slaps behind my head because like they came out behind me, they just slapped me behind my head and they showed their sense, and we hugged. I don't know how many people came. I forget that, probably some of them, because it was like most of them came crying, and I hugged them crying. It was like this. We went on like this for like 30 minutes, and then De Laurentiis talked. I don't know what he said. They played some songs. We chanted all together. We sang. We danced, and then after I don't know, maybe like an hour, we went outside the stadium. Like, slowly, it got empty, and we went outside the stadium. And yeah, I mean, the real party was there. There was a lot of flags, a lot of fireworks, flares everywhere. Yeah.
So that's immediately everywhere. Outside the stadium.
Immediately outside the stadium. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Everywhere on the stadium was crazy. People were. I mean, I saw some things. Like. So I don't know if you saw it on social media, but there was like I know it's gonna sound strange, but it's true. There was a boat driving around.
A blue one playing Live is Live.
See that?
Yeah, yes. It's amazing.
Yeah, as soon as the first thing I saw when I went outside the stadium was this boat driving around the stadium with a lot of people on it. People climbed everything that was climbable around the stadium, bus stops and cars and everywhere, everything and everywhere. And people, because obviously the stadium is surrounded by buildings, residential buildings, a lot of people were just like, just like outside their windows, their balconies, just waving at the fans and like waving flags. And there was a family with a woman, like an old lady with a couple of, how do you call it, like piatti, what you have in a band. I don't know how to call that, but it's like she was making a lot of noise with
an accordion.
No, not an accordion, but she was just making a lot of noise from her window with the whole family around there. I'm gonna send you the picture on WhatsApp so you can properly translate.
Okay, I'm gonna have a look.
But she was just outside the window, just making a lot of noise.
Imagine living in one of those places and
Yeah.
what a show you would have got last night.
Exactly.
Probably a bit of a risk of a firework going through your window.
Yeah,
that's a symbol. Symbols.
Symbols. Okay, there you go.
I used to play those in the orchestra. There you go.
Oh, nice. So
there was an old lady banging.
Yeah, an old lady. Yes, surrounded by her family, like a third or fourth floor of the building, one of the buildings right in front of the stadium. But it was everywhere. Like some of them were like this lady was playing the cymbals, but there were people like waving flags, and some other like with a pan, just making noise with a spoon and a pan, just making a lot of noise, and fireworks everywhere. It was very hard to walk around the stadium, but we did, because the plan was what was funny to me, like in the last few weeks and even in the last few days, people asked me a lot of questions, but one of the questions which I find very funny is, Michele, what are the celebrations gonna be like? What do you think I'm gonna do when Napoli wins, and where are you gonna go? And my answer is, guys, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't plan for this. I never had the chance to plan for this, so I don't know. I have no idea. Like, even yesterday, inside the stadium, after Napoli scored and after Napoli won, my friends were like, "Okay, what are we gonna do now?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know. Let's just go with the flow." And yeah, I mean, we went outside the stadium and we went with the flow. We walked all the way. So what you have to know is that the whole historic center was pedestrianized yesterday.
Okay.
So I couldn't get my scooter to go around Napoli. I just had to walk. So we walked from Fuorigrotta, from the stadium area, all the way to Piazza Plebiscito.
That is a big old walk, isn't it? That's what, like an hour, is it? Maybe.
No, I think longer than that. I think it was.
You got all the people around you, so it's going to slow you down as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know. I can tell you that after midnight, I watched the step counter on my phone, and after midnight, I walked around about 14 kilometers.
Nice.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Victory March.
Yeah, Victory March. It was, obviously we were walking all together, big flags everywhere, smoke bombs, flares, went inside the tunnel, chanting. I mean, everything you could imagine happened.
And how many other people were doing this walk to? So I mean, presumably everybody was just like, let's just go to Piazza del Plebiscito.
Yeah,
was everyone just gradually heading there?
Yeah,
Amazing.
everyone. I saw the pictures of Piazza del Plebiscito. It was absolutely full. I got there quite late because, again, Piazza del Plebiscito is quite far from the stadium. So when I got there, it wasn't empty, but it wasn't as full as it was after the game ended. It was still crazy,
looked
though.
Like the thing you sent me a video at 1:50 in the morning your time.
Yeah.
And it still looked, and we tweeted out on @Shadow of Vesuvio. It looked, and I replied, "Are you naked yet?" That's what I replied to that. Which you didn't, and you said soon, but you were lying to me, Michele.
I lied.
There will be time, in the words of T.S. Eliot, for that to happen. So yeah, but it was still busy. I mean, yeah, but you could tell that maybe some people might have gone somewhere else. So that walk should take about an hour and 5 minutes, according to Google Maps. But I bet it probably took a couple of hours. And was everyone just singing the whole way, pretty much?
Yeah. Everyone was singing. It was like a very slow march, but everyone was. It was funny because it was like small groups. It wasn't like a big group of people walking to the square or walking around. I don't think most of those people were going to the square anyway, to the Piazza del Plebiscito square, because every square, like I was walking around. Even when we walk on this side, the Lungomare, like I walked, I peeked and at the other streets, and basically every time there was a corner or like a big square everywhere, like I saw flags and flares, and so I think the party was very much decentralized. It wasn't just one place. I found it very funny, to be honest.
So there's lots of different, every little street. Yeah, that's in my head. Yeah. That's what I think it's going to be like a bit on the 4th, actually. That every street, every bit will have their own thing, and then maybe people will come together a bit later. But like, can I just ask, actually, what was your route to get to Piazza del Plebiscito? So how did you get there?
So we have to walk, obviously, from the stadium. We go under a tunnel. It's called Laziale, Galleria Laziale. We walked around the station Mergellina, then we walked to Piazza San Lazzaro, and then we got to the Lungomare, Via
So what was it
Caracciolo.
like? What was the Lungomare like? I mean,
Full of
were
people,
the
just like fully pedestrianized, flags. It's
fireworks reflected in the sea?
yeah, and like all the monuments have been, all the monuments in Napoli for a couple of weeks now, maybe, have been um, basically some blue lights have been, set up just to light them in the night. So all the monuments, like the big monuments in Napoli, are blue now. And Castel dell'Ovo, which is at the end of the Lungomare, it's blue, completely blue, and it says like
Amazing.
"Grazie ragazzi" and the Scudetto projected on the castle. It's it's part of this slow release of this Scudetto, is that you kind of got used to the city slowly turning blue. And like probably started in March, but you could see like a flag popping up on a balcony, and then one more, and then one more, like every day a few more, and then it gets incremental, like maybe one per day at the beginning, then 5, then 10, and then all the streets turn blue with the banners and the blue and white stripes. Yeah, like it's been very slow. Like it wasn't one day where everyone decided, okay, let's do this. Like very slow over the course of probably 2 months, 3 months now. And so, if you come to Napoli for the first time in a while and you see this, it hits you pretty hard. And sometimes I do look at Napoli the way a tourist would look at Napoli. But the truth is that I kind of, I got to see this slow build-up of celebrations. Wow. Even, like every street, like every day, one more street, one more flag, one more, banner. And it's
and imagine just walking.
Nice.
I can really visualize walking out of the stadium, going on that big kind of march, and then you sort of get to the Lungomare, you're walking along, and then you see Castelovo projected blue, but yet there's all these people celebrating. It must have been absolutely incredible. And were like strangers talking to each other, people generally just, or was it like, as you say, it was spontaneous, presumably?
It was spontaneous. Yeah, some people were talking to each other, but it was mostly maybe like, I think it was mostly like groups of friends, like walking together. And it was kind of fun because like maybe like one group of friends would start a chant and the whole street would follow. And then another group of friends would start a chant and then the whole street would follow. And, like that until like 4 or 5 in the morning. And
I wonder if there'll be a spike in the birth rate in 9 months' time in Naples.
Probably, yeah. Probably true, yeah. But the thing is that it wasn't even like, it was a Thursday night, like a lot of people, like a few of my friends had to leave early. When I say early, I mean like 2 a.m. because they had to work today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
and I was going to say that was actually one of my questions I was going to ask you actually, but I'll ask you that in a second. So, and you stayed in the Piazza for ages and then went home, or did it carry on beyond Piazza del Plebiscito?
Yeah, it was a slow. Yeah, I mean, but most people after 4, I would say most people just went home.
I love the idea that it's just you stood there at the end. Like, where is everybody?
No. I wasn't the last one at all. But it was. I mean, it's slowly. I mean, after a while, I left Piazza Plebiscito because I had my scooter in Fuorigrotta. So I had to go all the way back to Fuorigrotta, and
you walked all the way back to get your scooter. Amazing.
I walked all the way back to Fuorigrotta. That wasn't the plan. The plan was, okay, let's rent a scooter, like one of those small, like mini scooter, the shared mobility thing. But they were all reserved or are out of battery. So we couldn't, we went from one to the other, and it was like everyone had the same idea. So they were all reserved. So at the end, we just walked all the way back to Fuorigrotta.
Apparently, it's impossible to get hold of a copy of Gazzetta dello Sport today in Napoli because everyone's got this. So I was going to ask you about today. Have you been outside today yet?
No, not yet. No, I'm too tired. I will be out. I will go out in maybe like a couple of hours. I will go to the pub and talk to with some friends who weren't there yesterday. Like one of these friends is a big Napoli fan. He doesn't even live in Napoli. He lives in Tuscany. So he's coming back today just to feel, the city, and it's gonna
The vibes.
Yeah.
Nice. But presumably it's is it rather quiet today in comparison, or is it still going? Is there a sense of, because I get this a bit, because when you go into Glasgow the day after a Rangers Celtic match, you feel like the whole city is hungover. Basically, it's quite very hard to characterize. Or do you think it's just still going, or you haven't been out, so you have no idea? Presumably,
But I think most people are like me right now.
yeah.
Most people are like super tired, and kind of like I didn't drink, but I think that's what a hangover would feel like, probably.
Indeed. Yeah,
Probably.
well, yeah, that plus physical symptoms that you probably
exactly.
don't have, which I think is good news. So
just keep in mind that all the people who had to work day, like I spoke to a few friends, and they were like, even the one who stayed and had to work, they said, whatever. I'm gonna sleep 2 hours tonight. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna postpone the big meetings, and even the friends who were at the stadium today, like a few friends told me they just cut like a friend told me, like a friend who was at the stadium with me, and he said, like he lives and works near Rome, and he came today just for the game, and he said, like he invented an excuse, and he told his colleagues, obviously they're not Napoli fans, they're not from Napoli, the colleagues, they said, I have a big, whatever, I have something to do this afternoon, so he left early. And then a few of these colleagues, they actually follow him on Instagram. So they saw the stories from the stadium, and they got in touch with him saying, "Oh yeah, that was what you were busy. Why you were busy, and why you had to leave the office early."
It's busy.
It is
an activity. I was saying I would have liked to have put my out of office on today, but I don't think I could have quite got away with that because I'm not really functioning at top level. Well, that was great. Yeah, I think that's a very vivid picture you just painted, Michele, despite the fact you haven't really slept.
And I haven't really processed the whole thing. That's the thing. I'm tired, but also it's gonna take. I think some aspects of this win will take years to process.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. And this season, and as you say, the whole city seems to be living this experience in terms of what it looks like and how people interact. It's going to have this enormous follow on, I think, like echo that will follow you around for a very long time, probably for as long as you will live, I think. And that's why I think so many of us are excited about being there on the last weekend. And don't worry, people listening, we'll do a proper session on the last weekend. And we'll do probably the next podcast. We should talk about that in a bit more detail, because I know there are some people who are traveling alone. There's going to be a big community of people over there who have traveled. So, do stay in touch. Do follow us on Twitter. We'll talk about what we might be getting up to on an upcoming pod. But that's why I think a lot of us are just like solid. Got friends in America who have just spent huge amounts of money just because they want to be there and they want to live the experience. Do you have an expression of the week there, Michele?
Yes, I do have an expression of the week. It's an expression I really like, actually. It's one of my favorite Napolitan phrases, and I think it's very appropriate for the small event which happened yesterday. So the phrase of the week is in Napolitan: Dicetto pappice vicina noce, rammo tiempo che te spirtoso. I think I like it because it's quite musical. Like, listen to this. Ricetto pappice vicina noce, rammo tiempo che te spirtoso.
Nice.
In English, you told me it sounds a bit weird, but the pappice is a type of worm. A noce is a walnut. So the translation will go, set the worm to the walnut, give me some time, and I will finally drill you. I will get to you. So the meaning of this phrase, obviously, is, slow and steady. Slow and steady, that's it. You wait, even if it doesn't come very soon, eventually, and I'm saying this to my teenage self of 15 years ago now, don't worry, keep waiting, be hopeful, be optimistic, because it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen in 1 year, and it's not going to happen in 10 years. But eventually, the worm will get to the nut. You just wait, and it will happen.
Sì, sono d'accordo. And yeah, you couldn't have picked a better one. And I think it's the second longest wait in between Scudetti, 33 years. Roma's won in 82 was like 40 something. 33 is such a long time.
It is 2 generations, basically.
Yeah, and you do think about all the people that weren't there because they weren't alive, and you think it's amazing, really, to those sort of spirits that were there. And there's something about that mass gathering of people in a city like Naples that is so full of stories and pasts and things that you like you don't know what you're missing. Graffiti from the first Scudetto. Amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to say before you maybe have a nap before hitting the bar a bit later, Michele?
No, guys, let's enjoy this. Like, the first thing I thought about yesterday, and I shared it on Twitter too, was, I feel like this is for all of us. And, I was surrounded yesterday by people who had no idea. Like, they couldn't even name probably like 5 Napoli players. I don't care. Like, a lot of people are saying, to be honest, I kind of understand their point too. Like, a lot of people are saying, this is the Scudetto for everyone who suffered over the years. People who followed Napoli since the Serie C. And yes, I understand that. And it's probably like, what I would say about that is we probably feel it a little bit more. That's true. Because we know what it means. For people who don't really follow football, yes, it's a reason to celebrate. It's a reason to party mostly. But, if you didn't follow Napoli through the, Serie C and, like through the last 20 years, probably doesn't have that much meaning. Still, having said that, this is for all of us. This goes beyond football. And I think, the more you think about this, now it's too fresh for me to even realize what happened. But I think the more we will think about this, like over the years, over the days, months, whatever, we will realize how important this achievement was. And, it's like it happened. So we're going to take it for granted a little bit, but we can't. Like, we really can't. Like, the last team which won this Scudetto, which wasn't from the North, was in 2002. And even before that, like, it happened, I think they won like 80% of the Scudetti since 1926, 28 or whatever. So this is not, I'm very, like, the more I think about this, like, the happier I am because there are new elements all the time. Like, I'm so happy this happened with us. Like, can you imagine if Roma won the Scudetto before us? Like, in the recent era? No, man. Like, can you imagine how angry they are now? So, I mean,
there's so much salt from all these fans, all these tifosi.
I don't get joyous when I think about the other fans being angry about that. But I mean, it's nice.
That'll come. And we've always said on this show that there's no way to be a fan. There's no, you know what I mean? And like, I'm thousands of kilometers away from you. I'm a Napoli fan. There are people who listen to the show who got into Napoli because they played them on FIFA. There are people who listen to the show who, there's Raffa Rispo who produces the show. Him and his dad are super tight. His whole family is super Napoli, just like you, Michele. Like, well, that's the great thing about supporting the football team. We're all behind that, and that Scudetto absolutely is for everyone. Rock and roll, right? Go on then. Go and have a lie down, Michele. We'll do another one when we might have processed it a bit more. But I should imagine the party will carry on tonight and Saturday and Sunday, and right the way through to the 4th of June, and probably beyond. So, don't worry, folks. Plenty of time to party. Thanks for listening. Give us a follow at Shadow Vesuvio, part of the Far From Vesuvius network, at Far From Vesuvius. Just enjoy being the champions of Italy, folks. Forza Napoli.
Sempre.